Nearly a month before the wedding, 28-year-old Nikki McCown suddenly disappeared. Her fiancé and close male colleague were targeted by the police. Nikki McCown's love life was not smooth. She broke up with her boyfriend when they had a 3-year-old daughter named Peyton. In 1997, Nikki dated her high school sweetheart, Bobby Webster. The couple got engaged and set a wedding date of August 18, 2001. The family said Nikki looked very excited and looked ready to get married. On the morning of July 22, 2001, Bobby went to try on suits with the groomsmen, while Nikki went to the laundromat. That evening, the family could not find Nikki. Bobby said his fiancée was not home, even though they had to finish the wedding invitations. After calling a few of Nikki's friends, Bobby went to his wife's house to report that she was not there. Everyone started to panic. Unusual behavior before disappearance. Nikki's mother, Barbara, said she saw her daughter earlier that day when she dropped her off at the laundromat. She said Nikki left around 2 p.m. looking worried. She kept pacing back and forth, saying, "He won't leave me alone," she said. When her mother asked who was bothering her, Nikki said, "Those guys from the laundromat." Barbara comforted her by saying the men were probably just flirting with her, but advised her to pack up and go home if she was worried. Nikki followed her mother's advice and left the laundromat, but never returned home. That night, when there was still no sign of Nikki, her father told Bobby to call the police. He thought it was too early, but he said, "Okay, if you don't do it, I'll do it myself." The next morning, July 23, 2001, Bobby reported his fiancée missing. However, the police did not take this seriously, thinking that Nikki was probably too stressed before the wedding and wanted to escape somewhere to calm down. But the family said that Nikki had an autoimmune disease called hyperthyroidism that required medication, so they were extremely worried. The Richmond, Indiana Police Department discovered a video of Nikki at the Village Pantry, a convenience store in Richmond near the laundromat, at 3:19 p.m. on July 22nd. The grainy video shows Nikki entering the store, taking change, and leaving. That was the last time anyone saw her. Investigators searched the area around the laundromat, but found nothing. They also investigated the men who were said to have harassed Nikki at the laundromat earlier, all of whom denied actually causing trouble for her. Fiancé in question, police searched Nikki and Bobby's apartment in Richmond, but found no evidence. But Bobby was still on their radar. The family initially suspected Nikki's fiancé, because after she went missing, Bobby quickly called off the wedding and tried to return the ring. "I thought their relationship was destined, and many people thought so, but after Nikki went missing, there were a lot of suspicious signs. Several people witnessed him being violent with his fiancée," said Nikki's sister Michelle. Michelle never witnessed Bobby being violent, but she did see him throw things. On July 25th, a few days after Nikki went missing, Bobby was called to the Richmond Police Department for questioning. He said he went to try on wedding suits, went to his grandmother's house, and returned home on July 22nd. In the recording of the interrogation, Bobby said he was confused by Nikki's disappearance and that no one understood what was going on. The investigation team tested Bobby with a lie detector. Some of Bobby's actions after Nikki's disappearance raised suspicions among investigators, including returning her engagement ring and asking about some of Nikki's student loans. Michelle asked Bobby if he had anything to do with Nikki's disappearance, and he denied it, saying, "I love her. I want to marry her." Car found near ex-boyfriend's home. In November 2001, 4 months after Nikki's disappearance, police found her car in the woods around Meadows of Catalpa, an apartment complex in Dayton, Ohio, about an hour's drive from Richmond. On the day of her disappearance, Nikki was driving Bobby's black GMC Jimmy. There were no signs of injuries or struggle in the car. However, some parts of the car were missing. Nikki's laundry was still in the car. Meadows of Catalpa is also the apartment complex where Nikki's ex-boyfriend, Stephen Johnston, lived. Initially, Nikki's family found the location of the car suspicious. Nikki and Stephen's daughter, Peyton, was staying with her grandmother that day, so there was no reason for Nikki to go to her ex-boyfriend's apartment. Stephen and Nikki had a tumultuous relationship before they split, with him often abusing her. In a 2018 interview, Stephen admitted to not treating Nikki well. "I cheated on her. I abused her," he said. Stephen fully cooperated with police, passed a lie detector test, and was never really considered a suspect in Nikki's case. It's unclear why the car Nikki was driving that day was at the apartment complex. Male coworker accused of sexual harassment. Police have another notable suspect in the form of a male coworker who was very close to Nikki, named Tommy Swint. Tommy was a prison guard at the prison where Nikki work. According to Michelle, Tommy and Nikki's friendship developed in a worrying way. One time, when Michelle went to Nikki's house during lunch break, she heard screaming. She walked in the door and saw Nikki sitting on a chair with her leg on Tommy's chest. He leaned over and Nikki said, "Help, he's trying to rape me," Michelle said. But then Tommy started laughing and chasing both sisters, which Michelle thought was just a joke. She asked Nikki and she said, "Don't worry about it." The Richmond Police Department also suspected Tommy because he had no alibi. They had received many complaints about Tommy sexually harassing women and similar issues in the workplace. Nearly 10 years of investigation deadlocked. In 2010, nearly a decade after Nikki went missing, suspicions grew. Tommy was convicted of murdering a woman in Dayton, Ohio in 1991, using DNA and fingerprint evidence. Tommy committed suicide as police attempted to arrest him for the murder at his home in Alabama. At this time, Tommy was still considered a suspect in Nikki's disappearance, while Bobby and Stephen were cleared of suspicion. Peyton always believed Bobby was innocent and remained close until Bobby's death in 2021. "We talked about it a few times and he explained why he did what he did. He was just trying to figure out what happened to his loved one," Peyton said. After her mother's disappearance, Peyton moved in with her grandmother Barbara, but remained close to her father, Stephen. She also never believed her father had anything to do with her mother's disappearance. "My mother is a very sensitive subject for him because he always blames himself. He thinks if he had treated her better when they were together, maybe she would still be here," Peyton said.